Hello viewers, my name is Tyler Marchand, and today I'm going to start looking at the songs that were big before I was born, going backwards and starting with 1995. I know I said that for these videos I would be releasing them every 12 days, but I've been invited on a trip to Yellowstone starting in early August, and I decided to double my workload of listening to these songs to make up for the 8 days I will be out of commission. That 8 days includes me having to drive out there and back. So, as a result, I'm giving you this video 2 days early. Now, 1995. I'll just say that this year seemed to be completely dominated by R&B. So much so that if you, the listener, are an R&B fan, then you'll find that this is an amazing year for music. Personally, I've never really been that big on R&B, but I still managed to find 15 songs I would rate an 8 out of 10 or higher for this video. By the way, I was kind of worried when I came out with only 15 songs that I'd be talking about, considering that for one list, namely that of online blogger Nerd with an Afro, he had 15 slots for his best songs and almost as many honorable mentions when he talked about 1995. However, upon further analysis of his picks, I found out that some of them didn't chart and others wouldn't chart until 1996. So that made me feel better about my list. Before I share my 5 honorable mentions, I'm going to reveal my regretted omission from 2017, namely Location. Also, I was contemplating saving this for when I make my 2019 videos come December, but my regretted omission from 2018 is Skywalker. And one last thing, for my previous videos, I prepared those by opening all the songs into individual windows and then playing the songs when the script calls me to and exiting out of those slots and muting the pages and moving on to the next window. That way that I can make the videos without having to pause the filming. However, from now on, I will be utilizing the pause function in between the segments. So you are going to notice a lot more screen breaks from now on. Anyways, the honorable mentions. I got the chronic by the truth. Throw your hands in the air if you's a true player. And right out of the gate, we start with one of the most popular rap songs of all time. Think that's an overstatement? Over the course of just this 1 year, I heard 2 other songs from Biggie himself that make references to this song about picking up ladies at the strip club. And according to Genius, that's just the tip of the iceberg, as this song has been sampled a whopping 52 times over the course of not even 25 years. With the wiry synth that drives this song and Biggie's relaxed delivery, with bars just coming natural to him, it isn't hard to see why this song is so popular. I wish I was a little bit taller, I wish I was a baller, I wish I had a girl who's a good, I would call it. Wish I had a rabbit in a hat with a bat and a 6-4 paw. When I first listened to this song, I found myself amazed that a rap song could be as relatable as this one. And how is this song relatable, you might ask? Well, the whole premise of the song is that rapper Skee-Lo wants to be a basketball player and have a fancy car so that he can score a date, considering that without those, he's just the average loser that gets turned down by women and gets mocked at for his car that doesn't even have a spare tire that can actually function if the need arises. Now, basketball player is a very specific aspiration to be for this song. But from what I remember growing up, especially having watched Space Jam, which would be big about 2 years later, the thought of being able to play basketball like a pro is very appealing and to a wide audience. So yeah, I like this. Oh, how I wish that I could have talked about this song in my 1996 video. But since it made the 1995 year-end chart, it was disqualified from being talked about in 1996. And besides, 1995 was the big year for this song anyways. I'm starting to find that tropical sounding songs about wanting to get away from the hassle of everyday life are songs that are very appealing to me, and Janet Jackson's delivery coupled with her ad-libs and giggles throughout makes this a special entry into such a category. This is a song that I remember hearing quite a bit whenever I would play Grand Theft Auto 5, so you can imagine that I was eager to put this on my best list just out of recognition alone. However, it ultimately got forced out by stiff competition. Even having done the years of the 90s way out of order, and this one probably only being the 5th out of 10 years for the decade, I can already gather from songs like this that synth pop was very popular around this time, with this specific entry originating from an Italian group. While I anticipate flat out loving one certain synth pop classic even more than this one once I get to, I think it's 1993, hint hint, I still enjoy this song all the same. I'm gonna be honest, I was going to leave this song off the list for 1995 because admittedly, the song isn't as great as I remember it being when I first heard it. In that case, it was namely when watching The Nutty Professor for the first time that Eddie Murphy and Jada Pinkett go on that date to the club with Dave Chappelle. Anyways, but I would be doing the song a disservice if I didn't reference this classic party jam. Besides, I might get the crazy viewer out there who would have been bloodthirsty if I had left it out completely. So of course I was going to give praise to this song, because I still like it quite a bit. What do you think, I'm crazy? Okay, with those honorable mentions out of the way, let's find out what songs I liked the most from this year. Number 10. This first entry is one that was just barely a hit in 1995, but still gets played today like it were a top 20 year-end hit. I'll stand by you. I'll stand by you. I was surprised to find out that this song didn't come from a one-hit wonder like I had always thought, but that this song came from an English-American group that had its apex in the 70s. Perhaps I'll find out about more of their songs if I get that far with these year-end lists, but if their other songs are like this one, then I imagine I will like them quite a bit. The lyrics to this song are admittedly basic, essentially vocalist Chrissy Hynde declaring that she will always support her partner, but the song is elevated by her vocal performance as well as the instrumentation that is subdued for the verses, but then bursts out in choir-like fashion for the choruses. In short, I like the song quite a bit. Number 9. Now, let's shift from the bottom of the charts to about as close to the top as you can get without actually being at the top of the charts. "1995 was a very good year for Atlanta R&B group TLC, with 3 songs making the top 30 for 1995, and 2 of those songs occupying the top 3 slots. In Reno, I frequently hear 2 TLC songs today, namely No Scrubs and, you probably guessed it, Waterfalls. And Waterfalls is the one that I like hearing the most, thanks to the wonky yet intriguing instrumentation and vocals from T-Boz, telling the listener not to shoot for aspirations that are too high. sharing stories about a druggie and a gangster to drive that point home, with the late Left Eye delivering a rap verse showing that it is possible to get out of these situations, considering that she had been in drug rehab. Like I said before, this is TLC's signature song, and I think it's easy to see why. Number 8. After stopping just short of the top of the charts, why not go one further to the absolute top? Wanna be like on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the street light. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest hit song of 1995, and a deserving one at that. I tend not to listen to rap stations that much where I live, but every now and then, this song where Coolio is sharing his struggles of growing up in the streets, it is played on local stations. Apart from Coolio's bars and his recognition that this lifestyle isn't that productive, the song is propped up by the choir that mixes in with the synth instrumentation to make an iconic instrumental, along with LV's chorus that everyone knows the lyrics to, regardless of whether or not they like hip-hop or not. I've made it clear that I'm not that much of a rap person, more of a rock person, but I will recognize true quality when I see it. Number 7. And now, something that's more in my wheelhouse. Wait a minute, did I just say that this song is kind of more in my wheelhouse? Actually, I take that back. Ha 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 ha, very funny production, guys. Anyways, I mentioned in my 1996 video that Collective Soul was one of those acts that I listened to quite a bit when I was very young, this song being one of them. But I never realized until now just how much religious connotations are in the lyrics. I have mentioned in the past that I tend not to be a religious person because I don't really believe in blindly obeying what was written, transcribed, and translated thousands of times over thousands of years, but I digress. The instrumentation is what draws me in the most about this song that still gets some airplay today, especially during the choruses and bridges. I've heard this group has kind of been described as post-grunge, but even then, this is still post-grunge that is good. And I will continue to enjoy this song, even with the new insight from the religious lyrics. Number 6. And now, back to more rap music, because why not? Tell me how you did it, there's no way I can pay you back. But the plan is to show you that I understand. You all appreciate it. Something you probably gathered when I made my first batch of 90s year-end reviews from earlier in this year was that Tupac made rap music that I could get behind. But even with his biggest hit California Love and all of his posthumous material that I talked about on my videos, I did not expect this as the type of song that he would have made. It isn't worth it to talk about the instrumentation of the song, since all the attention should go to Tupac's bars, where he shares how much he appreciates his mother for taking care of him and his siblings throughout very tough circumstances. He admits that nothing he ever does could possibly compare to all the sacrifices she had to make to raise him, troubles and all. He admits that he was not a perfect kid. I can't imagine what it would have been like for her to have lived for the 20 years after Tupac was killed in a drive-by. But it is heartwarming to know that they are together again. Number 5. Okay, I promise that we are done with the deep emotional stuff for this video. Anyways, 1995 was such a good year that for this video, 5 of the songs that I'm going to be talking about over the course of the video were top 10 year-end hits. Here's the 4th such song. I'd like to take this moment to refer to one of my frequent viewers and commenters, Billboard Guy 1. He is one of the guys that his channel, him making videos is kind of an inspiration for me to make videos, and I just kind of wanted to just refer to him for one moment. There was one point in time where he mentioned that Kesha started the love is a drug trope that is common in music today. I respectfully have to say that this song is proof that that trope existed long before she blew up. It just probably wasn't just as much in your face. That, in essence, is what Kiss from a Rose is lyrically. But thanks to Seal's vocal delivery, this is made into one of the best examples for such a song subject. And this is a song that I surprisingly still hear today. So yeah, I like this song quite a bit. Check it out if you aren't familiar with it. Then again, I don't know how you aren't familiar with it. Number 4. One strange thing I've noticed after doing some of these videos is that after the videos are published, some of the songs that I say I don't really hear that much where I live are heard by yours truly on my local stations. To a small extent, 2001's South Side is a song that fits this mold, but a big one that I've noticed was 1996's Hook. Why do I bring that up? Well, come on, you all had to know that this was coming eventually. When I said in my 1996 video that Runaround is a song that I identify Blues Traveler with the most, you had to know that that meant that I liked this song. And what's not to like? Folk guitar drives the main instrumentation of this song, but of course, the main instrument for this band seems to be the harmonica. And harmonicas used in this song are just impossible for me to ignore. And then there are lyrics which describe an interesting relationship between two of the members of the band, with some of the lyrics implying a friend zone relationship. Now you're probably thinking, considering my taste and how I like rock music, there's no way that only 3 songs with some sort of a rock edge are going to be talked about this video. So my top 3 songs must all be from rock songs, which would lead to some questionable picks. Well, number 3. Even though I admittedly do have my own biases when it comes to certain genres of music, 1995 was a year that surprised me. I do keep an open mind so that other genres can surprise me, hence there being 2 rap songs in the top 10 proper, and higher up than I would normally put such songs. But, since this is 1995, and considering the music that dominated this year, my top 3 songs are all R&B. And my number 3 entry is the only one of the 3 that I have heard prior to my listening through for this year. I have put Mariah Carey on my best lists before, but I've never placed one of her songs up this high. The woman can sing, don't get me wrong, but most of her work is piano ballads, which is with pretty basic instrumentation. So for her to make it really high on one of my lists, she has to do something special. And this is certainly special. The first thing people will comment on with this song is that it is far more up-tempo than most of her other hits. The bouncy instrumentation couples in well with the lyrics about how wonderful life is with Mariah's boyfriend. And of course, I can't go without saying this, her vocals are once again out of this world. Lots of acrobatics she does throughout. To put it another way, Fantasy is, well, fantastic. Number 2. In most of my videos, I tend to have a bit of an idea as to how my lists are going to shape up before I start listening to a year. Most of this comes from the presence of songs that I have heard before and that I love and have heard because I've heard them so many times. I do, however, allow room for songs that I haven't heard before to make it in, but for such songs to take my top 2 slots, they have to be really special. When I started covering years that I hadn't been that exposed to before, one safeguard that I employ to ensure that I don't put any songs on my list that would otherwise be disqualified, I would put two Billboard years up right next to each other. The first window would be dedicated to the year that I was covering, and the second video for the year that immediately precedes it. And I would use the search function in my computer before listening to the songs to confirm if a song is unique to a certain year or a leftover from the previous one. When I started in 1996, this song was such an example, and I'll say this, if it hadn't have charted in 1995, this song would have topped my 1996 video. When I first heard this song, I was immediately drawn in by lead vocalist Amel Larrieux's voice, as she just sounds angelic in this track where she is experiencing the feelings that only love can bring. She wants to know if her partner feels similarly. There are parts in the song where her whistle vocals sound very akin to Mariah Carey, and she just fits in perfectly with the instrumentation, namely scattered keys and bass plucking, and by bass, I mean the violin types, not like bass guitars. And that's something you don't normally hear. Now, if this song surprised me greatly, but didn't top my list, then what did? Number 1. Prior to this video, I'd say that the highest placement a surprise song has gotten on one of my lists was the number 6 position for Don't Let Go, Love from 1997. Now, we're at a point where such a song is going to top my list, and oh, what a song it is. Like I said, TLC had a big 1995. Although this song was relatively big, making the top 30 of the year end, it is Lilliputian compared to the other TLC songs from this year and even from future years like 1999. However, it baffles me that this song seems to have been forgotten amongst the group's catalogs, since this is the type of song that you rarely hear at all, and rarely hear a song with this quality. The song is all unfiltered sexy time, from the lyrics that manage to be very sexual in nature without being too explicit, to the 3 girls' very low voices helping to fit the mood of this song very well, and then there's those background guitars that play, culminating with even a very soulful solo. This is a song that is clearly the inspiration from Bruno Mars's Versace on the Floor, which, if you remember from when I said in my 2017 video, that song was awesome, and I just cannot believe that it wasn't a hit for that year. But at least we still have this, Red Light Special, my pick for the best hit song of 1995. Well, that was my list. Thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, please share it with others so that I can grow my channel. Subscribe to my channel so you can get notifications whenever I have new material out, or leave a comment down below. I am very open to hearing what you have to say, as long as your words are civil. I usually say this after every video, but this is something that is not really directed at my religious viewers, the ones that have been with me from very early on, because they know at this point and they abide by these rules. I always want to keep these in place for new people to come along, so that there's no excuse that they didn't get the memo. Anyways, next time I'm going to be looking at 1994's year-end list, And again, since I'm pulling double duty when it comes to listening to these songs to make up for the time that I will be off the grid, that video should be out within 6 days. Stay tuned for that video. Until then, I'm Tyler Marchand, and I'll see you later. Take care.